In Shakespeare's Macbeth, the theme "Temptation Causes Destruction" is prominent. The main protagonists' state of minds are questioned when their behaviors of suspicion and persuasion corrupts them, leading to obsessions. These obsessions overpower morality and impact relationships by diverting them down temptatious pathways, ultimately resulting in destruction. Throughout the play, characters go through stages of emotions, mostly leading to suspicion and ultimately starting when Malcolm and Donalbain flee the country of Scotland, Malcolm to England and Donalbain to Ireland. Due to the death of their father, they feel it is safer away from potential murderers and assume they cannot trust anyone. With Macbeth's ambition to fulfill the prophecies, he needs to cover up his tracks by killing the guards. Macduff does not understand why Macbeth does this, but with only the audience knowing Macbeth's true motive, as Shakespeare writes, using asides, that if Macbeth wants to get away with the murder of Duncan, nothing can be tracked back to him, which includes the word of the king's guards. This leads to further disastrous deeds during Macbeth's reign. While Macbeth is king, Macduff has a conscious suppressed hesitation of Macbeth's attitude towards his advantage of power. Former U.S. President Richard Nixon and Macbeth are easily comparable in this case. The Watergate scandal was a political scandal involving Nixon and his administrations during the 1970s. There was a break-in at the Watergate office complex, a group of 5 buildings in Washington, D.C., and Nixon's admins attempted to cover up their involvement there, which included harassment of the offices of political opponents and people of whom Nixon's admins were suspicious of. The discovery of Nixon abusing his power on multiple occasions led to his resignation later that year. His involvement was discovered when his office recording tapes were complied, and they revealed his attempt of cover-up. Nixon's resignation is similar to the death of Macbeth, as both leaders didn't think of the repercussions that were possible during the reign of power.
Corruption in relationships. The 3 main relationships throughout the play that involve corruption are Donalbain and Malcolm, Macduff and Lady Macduff, Macbeth and Lady Macbeth.
With the separation of Duncan's sons, Malcolm to England and Donalbain to Ireland, this leaves the people of Scotland to fend for themselves. These selfish actions the brothers displayed, willingly knowing Scotland would be left without a proper leader, were caused by the lack of security and trust of others. The brothers are the rightful rulers, but after speaking to one another, decide their ambition to safety is more important than the destruction of Scotland. With Malcolm out of the country, Macduff's superior common sense allows him to clue into the actions and plans of Macbeth, and leaving his family behind, Macduff goes to England to seek the aid of Malcolm to have proper control of Scotland once again. In Scotland, Lady Macduff is with her son and contemplates why Macduff fled, underlining that he doesn't give much thought to his plans, and she feels he is a traitor and deserves to die. Ironically, the direction of her speaking in the end is to herself and her son, as Macbeth kills them for Macduff's actions, assuming they are involved too. When Macduff hears of the deaths, he returns to Scotland with help to avenge his family and regain power.
When Scotland is abandoned, the power is put into the wrong hands, and although Macbeth becomes a murderer throughout the play, Lady Macbeth is the mastermind instigated behind all the deaths. The couple are a dynamic duo in the beginning, but as the play continues, her dominance rubs off onto Macbeth, and he starts to plan an attempt to conquer on his own. And in the end, their love is still strong, but they end their own fate with death.
Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka are another dynamic duo that planned and attempted to succeed together. Paul and Carla raped and killed several people in the St. Catharines area. They both had a power lust to murder and never gave up on one another, just like Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. The witches are the spark that ignites all the events that occur in the play after they reveal the prophecies to Macbeth. This curiosity Macbeth develops triggers and awakens his ambition to pursue temptatious thoughts. Once 2 of the 3 prophecies have been fulfilled and Macbeth is in the process of obtaining the 3rd, he becomes overly cocky but also delusional. He starts to imagine things that aren't really there. Macbeth pictures a dagger, much like the one he used to kill Duncan, forcing unnecessary thoughts to surface his mind. This also foreshadows his upcoming death. During the feast with his lords, Macbeth sees the ghost of Banquo, a former friend of whom he murdered. This brings guilt to Macbeth's mind and he starts to go insane, even expressing his insanity for others to see. Lady Macbeth's dominance at the beginning of the play is less remorse than at the end. Her guilt overpowers her sanity and she too soon starts hallucinating. She is sleepwalking and thinks Duncan's blood is on her hands and she must wash it off. It is ironic because she is not the murderer and has swapped confidence with her husband. Lady Macbeth later kills herself due to her unstable state of mind and how the power has affected her.
Light is used as a symbol several times in the play to demonstrate life and how quickly it can be taken away. The witches see how clearly Macbeth abuses his power. They seek revenge on him. They tell him 3 false predictions in forms of apparition, which Macbeth takes wholeheartedly, not realizing he's being misleaded.
Tonya Harding is proof that in the world today, people will do anything to get what they want, just as Macbeth attempted to do. In 1994, while at the U.S. Figure Skating Championships, Tonya got her ex-husband and bodyguard to hire someone to break her competitor, Nancy Kerrigan's, right leg so she was unable to compete. After Harding won the championship and started training with Kerrigan for the Olympics, rumors spread of Harding's ex-husband's involvement with the assault. A month after the Olympics, Harding was convicted of conspiracy and banned from skating, but has still never admitted to being involved with the act.
The play, suspicion, persuasion, and corruption in relationships are all affected after the prophecies are revealed. The protagonists in Macbeth are questioned when their mindset starts to differ from reality and what's good versus what's evil. Their behaviors change as they eventually become tempted into situations that cause their destruction.